And good evening. This is the second of 3 debates between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton.
Hello. Unlike the Bernie Sanders race, where you won, but not fair and square, in my opinion. And all you have to do is take a look at WikiLeaks and just see what they said about Bernie Sanders and see what...
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
Let's see what happens.
Allow her to respond. Some of the issues that people care about tonight. Let's get to their question.
We have a question here from Ken Karpowitz. He has a question about health care. Ken?
I'd like to know, Anderson, why aren't you bringing up the emails? I'd like to know. Why aren't you getting
brought up
to the
emails.
bottom? No, it hasn't. It hasn't. And it hasn't been finished at all.
Ken Karpowitz.
Our intelligence community just came out and said in the last few days that the Kremlin, meaning Putin and the Russian government, are directing the attacks, the hacking on American accounts to influence our election.
I don't know, Putin. I think it would be great if we got along with Russia because we could fight ISIS together, as an example. But I don't know, Putin. But I notice anytime anything wrong happens, they like to say, the Russians, she doesn't know if it's the Russians doing the hacking. Maybe there is no hacking. Many of her friends took bigger deductions. Warren Buffett took a massive deduction. Soros, who's a friend of hers, took a massive deduction. Made bad judgment not only on taxes, she's made bad judgments on Libya, on Syria, on Iraq.
Isn't it a lot like the Holocaust when the U.S. waited too long before we helped? Secretary Clinton, we will begin with your 2 minutes.
Well, the situation in Syria is catastrophic. And every day that goes by, we see the results of the regime by Assad in partnership with the Iranians on the ground, the Russians in the air.
Now, she talks tough. She talks really tough against Putin and against Assad. She talks in favor of the rebels. She doesn't even know who the rebels are. You know, every time we take rebels, whether it's in Iraq or anywhere else, we're arming people. And you know what happens? They end up being worse than the people. Look at what she did in Libya with Gaddafi. Gaddafi's out. It's a mess. And by the way, ISIS has a good chunk of their oil. I'm sure you probably have heard that. Tweeting happens to be a modern-day form of communication. I mean, you can like it or not like it. I have, between Facebook and Twitter, I have almost 25 million people. It's a very effective way of communication. So you can put it down, but it is a very effective form of communication. I'm not unproud of it, to be honest with you.
Secretary Clinton, does Mr. Trump have the discipline to be a good leader?
No.
I'm shocked to hear that.
Well, it's not only my opinion.
I asked Hillary, why doesn't she made $250 million by being in office? She used the power of her office to make a lot of money. Why isn't she funding, not for $100 million, but why don't you put 10 or 20 or 25 or $30 million into your own campaign? It's $30 million less for special interests that will tell you exactly what to do.
Let's put our hands together for Hillary Clinton. Come on now, let's go.
And a pretty small turnout, and it's pretty clear to see also that the people in the bleachers directly...
We're looking at the turnout. This is a bird's eye view of Trump's rally in Tampa on Monday, and then you see the crowd there for Hillary Clinton's rally today at Curtis Hickson Park. Many of you mentioning on our Facebook Live about the difference in the size of the crowds. But does crowd size really matter? The Now's Nicole Grigg looking into past elections and the strategy behind these campaigns.
Trump rallies draw huge crowds, but that is the point. It also brings major news networks out to them. But everyone here, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily voting for him. And then Hillary's campaign tends to stick to the smaller venues, and that's because it said that an overcrowd is better than an undercrowd.
And I welcome you to the third and final of the 2016 presidential debates between Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Donald J. Trump. In a speech you gave to a Brazilian bank for which you were paid $225,000, we've learned from the WikiLeaks that you said this, and I want to quote, "My dream is a hemispheric common market with open trade and open borders." So that's the question.
He wants open borders. Now we can talk about Putin. I don't know Putin. He said nice things about me. If we got along well, that would be good. If Russia and the United States got along well and went after ISIS, that would be good. He has no respect for her. He has no respect for our president. Did a little Haiti the other day in Florida. And I want to tell you, they hate the Clintons because what's happened in Haiti with the Clinton Foundation is a disgrace. And you know it, and they know it, and everybody knows
Secretary
Well,
Clinton.
very quickly, we at the Clinton Foundation spend 90% of all the money that is donated.
Pew Report and other places. Millions of people that are registered to vote that shouldn't be registered to vote. So let me just give you one other thing. So I talk about the corrupt media. I talk about the millions of people. Tell you one other thing. She shouldn't be allowed to run. She's guilty of a very, very serious crime. She should not be allowed to run. And just in that respect, I say it's rigged.
Time when he didn't get an Emmy for his TV program 3 years in a row, and he started tweeting that the Emmys were rigged against
Should have gotten it.
This is a mindset. This is time.
You are the one that's unfit. You know, WikiLeaks just actually came out. John Podesta said some horrible things about you, and boy, was he right. He said some beauties. And is by fighting Assad, who turned out to be a lot tougher than she thought, and now she's going to say, oh, he loves Assad. He's just much tougher and much smarter than her and Obama. And everyone thought he was gone 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He aligned with Russia. He now also aligned with Iran because we're backing rebels. We don't know who the rebels are. We're giving them lots of money, lots of everything. We don't know who the rebels are. And when and if, and it's not going to happen because you have Russia and you have Iran now, but if they ever did overthrow Assad, you might end up with as bad as Assad is, and he's a bad guy, but you may very well end up with worse than Assad. If she did nothing, we'd be in much better shape.
Decision Night in America. Here's Lester Holt.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Decision Night in America. Here,
Donald Trump will have been kept from the White House by a big, beautiful brown wall.
Clinton has 274 in the lean Republican or solid Republican. So something has to flip.
Kentucky, where Fox News can project that Donald Trump will prevail, picking up 8 electoral votes. Trump will also win Indiana.
If he could get a North Carolina, that would be huge.
Donald Trump has won the state of North Carolina.
Donald Trump will carry the state of North Carolina.
But if he loses Florida, it's over.
Donald Trump will win the state of Florida.
Donald Trump will carry the state of Florida. Donald Trump will take Ohio.
He has won Florida, North Carolina, and Ohio. Hillary Clinton's lead over Donald Trump has dwindled. Iowa will go to Donald Trump.
He would have to pick off either Pennsylvania or Michigan or Wisconsin.
Pennsylvania has just been called for Donald Trump.
Something has to flip.
Donald Trump has won the state of Wisconsin.
Long faces at this viewing party here.
Pennsylvania, this really just wiped away.
John Podesta is showing up now in the Javits Center. There he is, Clinton campaign chair John Podesta. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Thank you. A long time, and it's been a long night, and it's been a long campaign. But I could say we can wait a little longer, can't we?
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business. Complicated.
It was Donald Trump versus almost all the experts. And as of right now, it looks like Donald Trump was right.
How do we explain that math?
I'm not sure you can.
I just think that we should have seen this coming.
America is crying tonight.
This is the time for real wisdom.
If you want real wisdom, I don't have that to offer at this hour.
The path here is getting to be very narrow.
It's hopeless with terrible values and incompetence galore.
This is a sadness. It is a mourning moment.
And it's, it's troubling.
How do we explain how this is possible?
We've overlooked rural America a bit too much.
No one counted the yard signs.
We're in a weird situation right now.
And it is a moment filled with fear.
Do the brains that got this guy elected president tonight apply to being a good president? I hope there's some connection. But otherwise, we have a dingbat as president.
Tonight is hard to put into perspective.
We're going to win with trade. We're going to win with health. We're going to win at so many levels. We're going to win, win, win. You're going to get so tired of winning. You're going to say, Mr. President, please, we don't want to win anymore. It's too much. And I'm going to say, I'm sorry. We're going to keep winning because we're going to make America great again. I love you.